Hello, hello. I am super excited to be with you guys today. Um, Please be patient with me. I am streaming in two different places. But hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super excited that you decided to join me today. Um, Check in with me. Let me know, where are you joining me from? If you want to know how my Peloton workout will help you with your breastfeeding journey, then please stay tuned because I am going to hop in and I'm really excited about sharing with you today because, okay, let me back up. For those that are new here, let me explain who I am. My name is Stephanie Poole. I am a certified doula and a breastfeeding specialist. And I'm also the founder of Birth Prep Academy, where we help first time moms looking to give birth in the hospital for the very first time. We help them to get prepared. Um, by preparing for childbirth and also preparing to breastfeed. And so that is who I am. Y'all, I absolutely love what I do. And with that being said, I'm going to talk about like what even got me interested in showing up today and really talking about this because I don't really talk about, I'm not a fitness guru. So I don't typically talk about fitness. I don't talk about, Peloton or anything like that. That's way out of my realm of expertise. But when I was on the treadmill this morning, I was just thinking, right? I'm walking, and then it was a 60-minute workout. It was technically a walk, but because of where I am, and this is what I'm going to talk to you about today, because of where I am, I kind of boosted a couple places. And so while I was doing it, I was thinking about, how far I have come. It's been maybe about a year now, where I've consistently been showing up, meaning, not regimented, but consistent, meaning not having big breaks in between. So I'll get in, I'll work out really good on most days of the week, some type of activity, and then just sticking with it. And it's been about a year of getting movement, and I can see the progress. And that's what I'm excited to talk to you today. I'm going to talk to you about how that really relates to childbirth and to breastfeeding, right? So let me start by saying, when I first started about a year ago, I was not that great. I was a lot heavier than I am right now. And, you know, my aerobic stamina was not very good. My endurance, just as far as like strength, was not very good. I mean, I'm just being honest. That is where I was, right? However, sticking with it and now looking at where I am right now versus where I was when I first got started, I can tell it's such a big difference. That I'm so much further along. And that is the component I think more breastfeeding moms need to know and understand, that just like when you're starting a fitness journey or a health journey, right? You may not necessarily see it immediately after one meal, right? And maybe you see some benefits by not feeling sluggish if you eat the right thing, but ultimately you got to give it some time. You got to give yourself enough time of doing certain activities over and over again, or making certain choices over and over again before you really can reap the benefits of a fitness journey or a health and wellness journey, right? And I feel like that is The reason why I felt like it was so important to correlate the two is because I see when I'm working with moms, especially new moms in the hospital, a lot of times I hear the frustration on like day two. Day two, and I go in to see a patient and they are like frustrated because they're like, I don't know if this is working. The baby isn't latching. I'm having a hard time. It hurts. Just y'all, it can really kind of be overwhelming. And so I felt like having this conversation is super important because I think one of the first things before we get into the tactical instruction of how to breastfeed, which, by the way, I have a live workshop coming up this weekend. You definitely want to enroll to learn step-by-step instruction. But before we get there, it's important to adjust our mindset, right? To set ourselves up for success. And I think that is kind of the missing component with a lot of moms who like the idea of breastfeeding, but they don't really understand like what that means truly. And so I kind of want to jump into that today. So first off, just like in a fitness journey, you really need to find your why. You really need to understand why it's important that you are choosing to breastfeed. That's number one. Let me just stop right there and kind of pause because, a lot of people will know that they want to breastfeed, maybe because they've heard others talk about it, maybe because they've seen myself or other people posting about it. They think that it's overall generally a good idea, but not really sure. And you need to understand the real benefits of breastfeeding. And there's a lot of benefits for both baby and for mom. And so, again, if you want to learn more and in depth, I can definitely go over those things. Some of the basic things that you can definitely learn. Hello and welcome. Some of the basic things about breastfeeding is how it teaches you to teach your baby how to breastfeed, how to eat properly. And what I mean by that is that breastfed babies tend to not be overweight later on. In other words, they have found that breastfeeding helps to fight obesity in children as they grow. And the reason for that is because of the cycle of how a feeding goes at the breast versus if we do improper feedings with a bottle. There's a correct way to feed the baby with the bottle, and then there's an improper way. And if we do it the improper way, it can train a child to eat a certain way that then translates as they start to have an intake of terms of gestational diabetes and diabetes. We see moms who, have a lower occurrence of obesity, of cancer, of diabetes that happens at a decreased rate in women who breastfeed. So these are all benefits, right? The antibodies that your baby gets from your breast milk. These are all benefits, right? And it's important to talk about that because you need to understand what your why is. And then you really need to latch on. Maybe for you, your why is the convenience of not having to, prepare formula. Maybe that's convenient for you. I don't know, but whatever your not having to get up at night, to warm up a bottle, whatever your why is, and maybe it's a combination of some of those things, right? Whatever that is for you is so important for you to know that and understand it up front. Why? Because you will hit some hard times, just like in a fitness journey. When I have worked out, there's been times that I didn't feel like it. There's been times when my schedule wasn't friendly to having extra time, right? So I had to really know my why to be able to create time. There's some moments when, I was under the weather and I just wasn't feeling well. And so that played a part into it. But the reason why I can sit here today and talk about, you know, my journey that is now over a year, a little bit over a year of consistently getting in movement is because I kept going, right? And so you have to find that why, you got to dig deep, and then you have to really understand like the importance of keeping it going. So once you find your why, the other thing I noticed about myself when I'm working out is giving myself grace. So I'll give you an example of this. Like every workout is not a level 10 workout. That's the truth. Every workout is not a level 10. Sometimes I get on and I kill it. I kill my workout. I get on, or there's strength training workouts. If you guys are familiar with Peloton, definitely let me know. But there's some days I get on and it feels like I could just go, you know? And then there are some times when I'm on there and I'm struggling. I can barely, like, everything that they're asking me to do feels harder and harder to do. And I'm just struggling to just get to the next one, get to the next one, get to the next one, and eventually finish. Like some workouts are just absolutely brutal. And that's important to know when you're breastfeeding. Every feeding is not going to be like a top tier feeding, especially in the beginning. There will be feedings where the baby latches on and does great. Especially we find that to be the case immediately following birth. Like typically you can get the baby on and get the baby, suckling well and have a really good feeding. But then as the hours roll by and the days roll by, there sometimes we have to back up a bit, right? And we have to deal with the baby is now sleepy. When birth happens, you and the baby have kind of like this boost of adrenaline from giving birth. And so you're admiring your sweet baby you just had, and the baby is like, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world for me. And then after that wears off, mom is tired and sleepy because now it's starting to hit her that she was up for 16 hours in labor, or, same thing with the baby. Baby is like, I spent all day yesterday trying to get here. I'm tired now. And so it is very common to have that slow down after such a good feeding. And if you are not aware of that, if you don't give yourself grace for that and just accept every feeding for what it is, then you are more likely to quit. And so being here and then tuning in to really give yourself the grace that you have to give, that I find myself giving for the workouts. Like I said, every workout I have is not a perfect workout. It's not. But you got to keep going. And I can only say that because I'm now a little over a year in. Most people stop breastfeeding literally within days of starting to breastfeed their baby. This is the truth, y'all. I see it every day. Like in the hospital, I have moms who start out really good and then they hit a bump in the road and they completely just pivot the whole idea of breastfeeding. And that's why, I'm here and I'm talking about it because it's the same thing that I had to do learning how to be consistent in my fitness and health journey. It's the same things that you have to be aware of when you start breastfeeding. Every feeding is not going to be top tier. Sometimes the baby, especially in the beginning, the baby will get on, give a good suck, you get a good feeding, and you're feeling like you're on cloud nine. And then you go to try the next feeding, and it just, the baby is frustrated, lots of crying. Now you're stressed out about it, hard to get the baby to latch. And so I'm hoping that hearing me talk about it today will help you to position yourself so that you can know your why and give yourself grace. A- Approach every feeding just as if it is um, an isolated feeding. Sometimes they're going to go great, sometimes not so much, but we're going to continue to try. We're going to continue to try. And let me also say this, and this is something that is very key, especially in those first few hours and days after giving birth. And that is this: babies are born with the suck, breathe, and swallow coordination. Okay. Babies come here typically having to know how to breathe, right? And how to suck and how to swallow. But what we have to train them on, this is literally what I do with babies in the hospital, like every day. And that is, babies have to learn how to coordinate all of those things while feeding at the breast. And so it takes training. And I think one of the misconceptions that I'm hoping to kind of shift today is to adjust your mindset that when babies come here, they kind of need help the first few days getting on the breast, getting into a good position. Once you help them, the more you practice it, the better you will get in knowing the positions that your baby likes. And also, the better the baby gets to being more efficient at getting on the breast and transferring the milk. So, what the important thing I want you guys to remember is that it is a process, just like working out, just like a health journey. You can do on the scale. It's a process. It's the process of continuing to do the run. It's the process of continuing to eat good, healthy, nutritious foods. And when you start to do that, right? When you start to make those daily choices, that's when you see the compound effects of then the benefits of, you know, being more fit or the benefits of a healthy food journey. It's the same thing with breastfeeding. After you practice it with you and baby, you start to see the benefits of the baby being more efficient at the breast, transferring the milk, your milk supply being adequate. All of these things come from practice. They come from practice, they come from repetition. So give yourself grace to get in there and get going, right? The next thing I want to talk about in terms of like keeping it going and really seeing the success of it is to enjoy the journey. Let me say that again. It's so important that when you embark on something like a fitness journey or breastfeeding, that you jump in and you enjoy the journey. And what do I mean by that? I mean, celebrate the small wins, just like you would in the health journey situation. You're going to do that for breastfeeding. Doing so is going to help you stay present. It's going to remind you why you're doing it. And it's going to pull you forward to the next time and the next time and the next time, right? Because you're celebrating along the way. It's so important. So important. Let me give you an example. So, over the last year, I've been trying to get in movement and just trying to make changes in my eating. Some days are great, some days are not. But on the days when I feel like I'm doing well, or once I hit a certain milestone based on what it is that I'm tracking in my journey, and everybody's journey is different. Once I hit something, I try to learn how, and this is relatively new for me, but learning how to celebrate it. Since I've started, some of my workout gear, it doesn't fit the same. And so I literally have logged on in the last day or two and started to shop for new workout gear, things that would be, pleasing and that feel comfortable and look great, things that I can say, okay, I've made it to this point in my journey. I'm going to kind of re up on some of my, fitness workout clothes. And doing so is a celebration of where I am right now, where I've come from, how long it's taken me to get here to right now, really just celebrating being in this space and in this moment. And I want you to do the same thing along your breastfeeding journey. When baby latches, take it as a win. Take it as a win. Celebrate it. Celebrate it. When you have worked really hard to be consistent with your stimulation schedule, stimulating enough either by putting baby to breast or by pumping, celebrate that. Celebrate it. If you notice a consistency in your milk supply being adequate, celebrate it. Celebrate that accomplishment. Doing so will help to pull you forward. It will help to pull you forward. Now, I can't say all of that, and I don't want to forget this part. And this part is, especially in today's time of social media, we are always looking at someone else, what they did, how their journey is, how much milk they're making, how they feed their baby. I just want you to put blinders on and really, learn sound information so you know what a baseline of expectation should be for both you and baby. And then I just want you to do your best in trying to get as close to that as you can, right? That is going to be key, because same way with working out and fitness, I have personally done it. And let me pause and kind of talk about this for a second. So in the last, year or so, as I've been working out, this has been probably one of the longest stretches in quite a while. I mean, in a very long time of me staying consistent with working out. And I think the thing that is different this time is, in addition to everything I've mentioned to you, me understanding that this time it's about me. Like, I'm not looking to the right, I'm not looking to the left, I'm not looking to see what so and so's abs look like. I'm not looking to see how much weight this person lost and how quickly they lost it. I'm not looking to see some new fad or some new trend. I specifically set goals for myself based on what I want to see or where I want to see myself in the near future concerning my health. Different things that I want to try and accomplish based on where I am now and where I would like to be incrementally. And then I just try my best to do daily activities to really help me get there. And that's what I want you to get into the habit of doing when you're on your breastfeeding journey. And the reason why that's so important is because whether or not you intentionally are doing, like, reacting to what you're seeing, when you take in social media posts on TikTok or Instagram or anywhere, YouTube, and you see women making copious amounts of milk, right? And then you're on day 2 of your journey and you're like, I don't even know if my baby is getting anything. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel like, what am I even doing? Why am I doing this? I'm just going to, try something, an alternative method, formula or something of the sort. But when you look at where you are, what your baby needs in that specific moment, if your baby is 48 hours old and you're in the hospital and you're wondering if your baby is getting enough because you're not making, a whole thing of milk. And I've literally had women to say this, like they will get them set up on the pump, give them, the instructions on what a stimulation schedule would be. And I'll come back and moms will be like, well, I pumped, but I didn't get anything. It's day two. It's day two. So you wouldn't necessarily get this much milk on day two. Is it possible? Of course, because there's always going to be outliers. But in terms of where you are and what your baby needs, your baby only needs like 2 to 10 mLs at every feeding when they're 0 to 24 hours old. 2 to 4 mLs. That's literally like a small syringe. It's not that much because their tummies are so small. But if what you're consuming is all of these videos where women are making these huge amounts of milk, then you can see how that will change your perspective from, okay, I'm day two, my baby is latched and we're doing good, to, well, I put the baby to breast, but I don't even know if I'm making enough milk. Or I pumped and I didn't get anything out, so I don't think this is going to work for me. Okay? So be sure to just measure yourself against the baseline of early expectations of breastfeeding. That's it. You're going to use that information, you're going to tweak it, and that it will be your way to measure where you are based on the timeline of when your baby was born, how old are they, and how many times are you pumping or how many times are you latching baby. Like, that's the only thing that absolutely matters, and it's so important to keep that in mind. Okay, so we've talked about finding your why. We've talked about giving yourself grace. We've talked about celebrating the different milestones and enjoying your breastfeeding journey. We've talked about adjusting, right? Your perspective and not going off what you see for other people, right? Someone who has a 6-month-old baby and what their milk supply is. We're not basing yours on that. We're going specifically based on the journey that you are on. And so when that happens, it will position yourself for success, And I can't stress enough, like, how I feel like this is the exact mirror of why I've been able to be successful over the last year or so. And it comes down to just taking it day by day, understanding every day is not going to be like the day before. Sometimes you're going to have really good experiences, sometimes not so much, but you keep going, keep showing up, keep going. And then that is really the final component that I think is so important is you when I hear women talk about, how they stopped breastfeeding. So a lot of times, also another thing that will happen when I'm in the hospital is I'll go into a mom's room and she may say, I've had a baby before. I tried to breastfeed, but I only got through like the first week. And then I kind of gave up on it, but I really want to go the course this time. And so, of course, I'm always excited to share that information and to really try and support that mom to help her get off on a good start. But it's so important that once you start, as you embark on this journey, that you understand to keep going. Keep going when things are not favorable. Keep going when you're tired and you don't feel like it. Keep going when baby is not, you know, necessarily latching the way you want, keep going. And the power in that is over time, you will get better. It will work out. Your milk supply, barring there's no other medical conditions that's preventing your milk supply from or playing a role in influencing your milk supply, medications and things like that, or breast procedures that you've had, removing any of those extenuating circumstances, right? So we're talking about a healthy breast with, a healthy baby and proper stimulation. That doing those things over time you will eventually see an increase. You will eventually see the progress of your breastfeeding journey. Y'all, it feels so good to be where I am today. Am I where I want to be in 6 months? No. I still have a lot of improvements that I want to see in terms of my health, in terms of my physical activity. But it feels so good to be where I am because I'm not where I was before. I'm not where I was before. I have accomplished, certain milestones. I feel so much better about my body, about my health, about everything. It has really changed my perspective on a whole lot of things. And so I hope that you can take from this the idea that, as you get into this breastfeeding journey, that you apply some of these same things in terms of your mindset and shifting your perspective. And really, my hope for you is that 6 weeks after the baby is born, 3 months after the baby is born, 6 months, a year after the baby is born, you are where I am, right? So you've gotten through that rough beginning, that learning curve of the beginning. I shouldn't say rough, but the ups and downs of learning how to do it, right? You've gotten through that. You've established your milk supply. Your baby is efficiently and effectively transferring the milk and is healthy, getting all of your amazing nutrients, right? That we know is in breast milk. And now you are looking at yourself and you're saying to yourself, I'm so glad that I kept going. I hope that's where you are. I really hope that is what this will help to serve to push you into, right? Because I'm rooting for you. I am literally standing on the sidelines cheering you on, saying, keep going, keep going. Every day that you get up, that you show up, that you are committed to breastfeeding, you have already outdone so many people that just they give up before they even get to the point of being able to see results. Same thing with weight and health and fitness. It's hard to live a certain way, consume, unhealthy foods, and then make a change, split like that, and still keep going. There's a learning curve to it. And most people fall off in that curve. Most people don't stick with it long enough to see the benefits. And so I hope that this will help you to change your perspective, to really position yourself for success when you embark on this breastfeeding journey. Y'all, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to see and to hear your breastfeeding success. I'm super excited. With that being said, if you are a first-time mom and you want to breastfeed your baby, if you're pregnant and you're looking to breastfeed, but you don't know where to start, I invite you to join me for a workshop, a breastfeeding workshop, this Saturday, March the 9th at 3 p.m. I am going to go over the benefits of breastfeeding. I'm going to give step-by-step instruction, and the most important part is I'm going to open up the lines and we'll be able to go back and forth, and I'll be able to answer every single question that you have about breastfeeding, so that my goal is by the end of this call, by the end of this workshop, by the end of this class, you will feel confident and excited to meet your sweet baby. Not worried, not anxious, not on pins and needles, at least in a negative way. You might be on pins and needles waiting for the baby, but you'll be excited to jump into your breastfeeding journey. And so join me this Saturday, March the 9th, again at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is listed below. You can also tap my bio and click the link there. Y'all, I'm so excited to see you there. Check it out. Until next time, happy birthday, y'all. Bye.